The sun was already leaning westward when Officer Brad Jenkins slammed his patrol car door shut, squinting across the street at the man in the hoodie. They were in the heart of downtown Atlanta. People moved quickly, horns blared, and sidewalk chatter filled the humid afternoon. Brad's eyes narrowed. The man was black, tall, sharply dressed despite the casual hoodie, and standing beside a sleek black sedan. Brad didn't like it. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell to get notified for more, share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. The man checked his watch, glanced at his phone, then looked toward the coffee shop. Innocent enough, except Brad didn't think so. He's waiting on something, Brad muttered, flicking on his body cam. Inside the patrol car, his partner, Rookie Officer Lisa Trent, glanced up from the tablet. Brad, dispatch didn't say anything about. I've got a hunch, Brad cut in. You'll learn that out here, instinct matters. Lisa hesitated but unbuckled her seatbelt. Brad crossed the street like a man on a mission. Hey, you there, he barked. Heads turned. The man raised an eyebrow. Can I help you, officer? The man asked coolly. You loitering? This your car? Brad's voice was already rising. Yes, the man replied calmly, reaching into his pocket. Here's my license and registration. Hands where I can see them, Brad yelled. Startled, the man stepped back, raising both hands. Lisa jogged over, uneasy. Brad, maybe we should just ask. Quiet, Brad snapped. Turn around. Hands on the vehicle. The man didn't move. I said, hands on the vehicle. I know my rights, the man replied, still calm, but his jaw was tight now. You've got no cause to search me. That was it. Brad lunged, twisting the man's arm behind his back. The man grunted but didn't resist. Lisa's face paled as she recorded it all. You're under arrest, Brad growled, yanking out handcuffs. For what? The man asked. Brad hesitated. Suspicious behavior. Resisting questioning. People around started filming. One woman shouted, That's not resisting. Brad ignored them, shoving the man into the back seat. Inside the precinct, Sergeant Hayes took one look at the man in cuffs and blanched. What the hell is going on? Picked him up on suspicious activity, Brad replied smugly. Guy was being shady near a high theft area. The man sat quietly, cuffs biting into his wrists, eyes fixed on Hayes. Sergeant Hayes stepped closer, face pale. Uncuff him. No. Brad blinked. But, do it. Hayes roared. Lisa scrambled forward, unfastening the cuffs. Hayes exhaled, rubbing his face. Officer Jenkins, meet Special Agent Daryl Monroe. FBI. Counterintelligence Division. Brad froze. Daryl stood slowly, flexing his shoulders. I was here on a covert surveillance assignment. I told him that. He didn't care. Brad's face reddened, the realization sinking in like concrete in water. You blew a federal operation, Hayes said, shaking his head. We're gonna be cleaning this up for weeks. But Daryl wasn't done. That's not the worst part, he said, voice low but steady. This officer didn't ask questions. He assumed. My skin color, the car I drive, the way I stood there, I was guilty before I even spoke. Silence filled the room. Brad's lips parted. I didn't know. Didn't care to know, Daryl replied. And this isn't new, is it? Lisa stepped back, guilt etched across her face. An internal investigation was launched. The video spread online. The footage from Lisa's body cam, combined with civilian cell phone clips, painted a disturbing picture. Officer Jenkins had profiled, detained, and used excessive force, all based on a gut feeling tainted by bias. The fallout was swift. Community members protested. News outlets dissected every angle. The mayor issued a statement. Jenkins was suspended pending investigation. Lisa, shaken, requested a transfer and started taking anti-bias training on her own. Daryl, meanwhile, held a press conference. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He told a story, his story. How even with a badge, credentials, and a federal mission, He wasn't immune from the suspicions that trailed black men like shadows. "I could have been anyone," he said. "A teacher, a father, a student, and I was treated like a threat." He looked straight into the camera. Justice isn't just a courtroom word, it's how we treat people when nobody's looking. It's how we check ourselves before we assume. And if it can happen to me, what about those with no badge, no title, just the color of their skin? It hit hard. In the weeks that followed, the department rolled out mandatory training. Officers were retrained on de-escalation and implicit bias. A community review board was established. The city began healing, slowly, but with purpose. Brad Jenkins. He resigned before the board could terminate him. No press. No apology. But Daryl's story didn't end there. Months later, he returned to that same coffee shop, greeted warmly by staff and regulars. He met with local youth, speaking about justice, law, and change. His voice, once silenced in cuffs, now empowered others to speak. And Lisa. She attended one of those talks. Sat in the back, eyes lowered. At the end, she approached Daryl. "I should have said something that day." "You can say something now," he replied. She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I want to help fix this." "That's a start," Daryl said, offering a hand. They shook. Because justice isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's about a shift, one heart, one mind at a time. Moral lesson. This story is not just about one mistake, one bad officer, or one wrong arrest. It's about the deeper, quieter prejudice that lives in assumptions. It shows us the need to check our instincts, listen before reacting, and recognize that behind every face is a person, with a life, a family, a name. Authority without accountability is dangerous. But when power meets humility and learning, change becomes possible. Let this be a call. See people, not profiles. Speak up when silence would cost another their dignity. And above all, be human.